Hi, this is trial attorney Neil Redmond coming at you from the Brooklyn Bridge Park. And it's a nice day here in January, and I'm just walking around the park. But today I wanted to talk to you about medical liens, okay? Medical liens are a little bit tricky because people don't realize that when you have a personal injury case, there are situations in which you have to pay back your medical costs for the treatment that you received. So this is an area of a lot of confusion for people. And what I'd like to do is explain the different situations as clearly and as simply as I possibly can. And let's start out with car accidents, because if you're in the middle of a car accident, if you get into a car accident, generally speaking, no-fault insurance should cover your medical costs. It's called no-fault because it doesn't matter who was at fault in order to get the coverage. It's also sometimes called PIP, personal injury protection. So, no fault. Now, this is also a little tricky because, and people don't understand this, but the insurance company that actually pays the no fault, if you're driving your car and if the accident was 100% the other vehicle, believe it or not, your no fault insurance from your car pays for your medical expenses. Doesn't make sense. It's strange. It's just the way it is. And people don't always understand it, but that's just the way it is. So, but the good side is that you do not get an increase in your rate because of that, okay? In other words, everybody has to buy no-fault insurance coverage. It just comes with your policy, all right? And just like when you go to get medical treatment for your any kind of a medical ailment that you have due to possibly getting injured or being sick, your medical insurance that you have with Blue Cross Blue Shield, if you have Medicaid, whatever you have, the rate, the premium you have to pay does not go up because you have to use that insurance. It's the same with no fault, okay? Now, the other thing that's a little bit tricky is if, for example, you were a pedestrian and you got hit by a vehicle and you have a car at home, again, this doesn't sound right, but this is the way it is, your vehicle insurance will pay the no-fault coverage, not the guy that hit you, believe it or not. But if you do not have a car at home or nobody in your household has a car, then the vehicle that hit you's no-fault insurance is gonna pay for your no-fault coverage. And no-fault coverage includes your medical costs, all right? Whatever it costs for you to get medical treatment. It includes your lost wages. If you're out of work for a period of time, we have to file for lost wages. And it also includes your, it would include a home health aid for about $100 a day if you needed that. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, no fault covers up to $50,000 in treatment and lost wages. That's it, $50,000. A lot of people think that you get the $50,000. It does not work that way. The insurance company will pay back the medical providers what they had to spend on your treatment up to $50,000. After that, then things get a little bit more complicated. But let's start with that as a starting point. So you have to file a no-fault application for your no-fault benefits within 30 days. So when you come to my law firm, Redmond Law Firm, we're gonna do that for you. And we'll make sure that we file all the necessary paperwork, but it's gotta be done within 30 days, okay? Then you'll start to get, treatment. So whatever treatment you need, if you need MRIs, if you need physical therapy, if you need surgery, all of that is going to be covered under the no-fault insurance. up to the 50,000, right? Let's talk about what happens if it goes over 50,000. Now, if you're a pedestrian, there are times when there's something called APIP, which stands for Additional Personal Injury Protection, and that can cover you for an additional 25,000. But not many policies have that. Some do. And it really only applies when you're a pedestrian struck by a vehicle, because the chances are, if you're a pedestrian, you're going to need more insurance because you're going to have a more serious injury than you would have had if you were in a car, okay? So there's a possibility, if you're a pedestrian, you could get that additional PIP. Now, if the cost of your medical treatment and your lost wages goes over that $50,000 amount, then what happens is that the rest of your medical treatment would be addressed on a lien, okay? A lien is a promise to pay at a later time. And so, for example, the place where you're getting treatment, if they used up all the 50,000 and then it was another 15 or 20,000 to do a surgery, they would be working on a lien. Now, a lien is a little bit complicated because there are a lot of different kinds of liens, or different entities that have liens, medical liens, and they accept a certain amount back based on how we negotiate with them, the relationship we have with them, and things like that. So I'm going to shift over to the situation that would occur if you had a slip and fall accident and you had no personal health insurance. In that case, and you didn't know where to go to the doctor, we would help you find a doctor that was qualified to treat you for your situation. And that doctor would probably work on a lien. Again, this is a promise to pay after the lawsuit settles, and that lien has got to be paid out of your settlement money. That's always the way it works, okay? Now, it's a good thing and a bad thing to have a lien. It's a good thing to have a lien because you're going to have a very accurate accounting of all your medical treatment that we're going to present to the other side, and we're going to say, look at all of the treatment this person needed to get better and needed to get physical therapy or whatever's necessary. And that shows the other side that you had a significant or a substantial injury. And we say to them, that has got to be paid back, and it's got to be paid back by you. So that's kind of the good side of it. The bad side of it is that, you know, this is an area that the other side, the defendant, they just don't like to pay money. So when they feel or learn that they've got to pay additional liens for surgery or for different treatments, they're not necessarily happy about that. But anyway, that's our job, is to negotiate an amount of settlement that is a fair and just amount to compensate you, the injured person, for what you've been through, and also to pay back whatever medical treatment that you needed. And don't forget, if you're going to possibly need medical treatment in the future, we're also going to expect the defendants to pay for that as well. Okay, so these are all things to consider when you're handling or having a case. Now, we just had a case this morning where the young lady tripped on a misleveled sidewalk, and her own health insurance paid for about $35,000 for her treatment. She ended up having to get her mouth wired shut, her jaw, and now she happened to be covered by something called a self-insured ERISA plan. Now, a self-insured ERISA plan is the only private insurance that is allowed to have a lien and to be paid back at the end of the case. So, as compared to another private health insurance such as